Hey everybody, Jim Chester coming to you live here. We are in East Brunswick, New Jersey, right? And we're at the Genesis Pediatric Conference. And I have Dr. Jack Wolfson here with me. And this guy is doing something really amazing. You released a book that changed the way that people thought about cardiology and the paleo diet and all that stuff. But let's first talk about this idea of natural cardiology and why you decided to switch gears.
Yeah, sure thing. So I'm a conventionally trained cardiologist. I went through 4 years of medical school, 3 years of internal medicine, 3 years of cardiology. And then 2 years on the job, I meet this woman. And she's a doctor of chiropractic, or as she says, a doctor of cause. And she explains to me what really causes sickness. And we'd never been trained that as medical doctors. We were just trained about pills, about surgeries, about getting people in and out of the office as fast as possible with some kind of prescription. I saw so much sickness around me. I saw sickness in my own family, saw sickness in my own father. I tell that story in my book. And then we ultimately take him to the Mayo Clinic, and the Mayo Clinic has no idea why my father is sick. And then I meet this doctor of chiropractic, and she tells me exactly why my father is sick. And she says it's about the food, it's about the lifestyle, lack of sunshine, lack of sleep, environmental toxins, pollutants, and certainly lack of chiropractic care. And what she said made perfect sense. Now, most medical doctors would run from that person because it really challenges everything we've ever been taught. And also the financial ramifications of changing your belief system is so detrimental to a cardiologist who's got school loans and bills to pay and insurance and malpractice and all that kind of stuff. But I listened to what she had to say. I started making changes in myself personally, in my practice. I left that massive cardiology group in 2012. Started my own practice, Wolfson Integrative Cardiology. My wife and I together are the doctors Wolfson. And it's been a whirlwind. And then, yeah, as you mentioned, my book, The Paleocardiologist, The Natural Way to Heart Health, 17 chapters, over 200 pages, 300 references. Chapter 14 is called The Wonders of Chiropractic, Why Everybody in My Practice Must Be Under the Care of a Doctor of Chiropractic.
Yeah, and it's more about the nervous system keeping the animation in the body healthy, and it's not about the pain or the symptom. It's about keeping the source of health alive inside of us until, I always tell people, it's a two-doctor paradigm. You need one to keep you healthy and one to save you from dying. And obviously we want to have the best medical professionals in the world that can keep us from dying, but we also want the best medical professionals in the world that can keep us healthy.
Yeah, most certainly. I mean, listen, there's a time and a place, obviously, for conventional medicine. If you're in a trauma, you go to a trauma center. If it's an emergency, you go to an emergency room. But for prevention, the medical doctors have nothing. And I know that because I'm one of them. I know what they know, and I know that cholesterol drugs and blood pressure drugs and aspirin and surgeries and procedures, they're not preventing anything except for people being truly healthy. And it is the doctor of chiropractic that is uniquely skilled to be the go-to for all things health and wellness. And I could talk about the cardiovascular benefits of chiropractic. You mentioned, the neurologic nervous system. Well, what controls the heart? What controls the lungs? What controls the blood vessels? It's all the nervous system, which is the expertise of the doctor of chiropractic. So, it's really been an absolutely amazing thing for me because, again, I know both sides. I know the conventional side. I know the holistic side. There is a time and a place, like you said, for the conventional side. Now, that being said, if you're in the midst of a heart attack, I wouldn't necessarily say go to get adjusted by a chiropractor. But I do believe that if you were on your way, if you get to the hospital and you were adjusted by a chiropractor before you had the traditional conventional medical procedures, cardiology procedures, I think you would do better.
Yeah, and it's about keeping the source healthy, and that's the most important thing. I think that when we think about like our families particularly, I know you said that you have a particular story about your father in your book. Let's talk a little bit about the genesis of that book and what it did for your career.
Well, I wrote the book twofold. Number one, to stick it in the face of all the cardiologists I used to work with and say, hey, here's my book, here's the references, here's the resources. No, but the real reality is that I wanted people from all over the world to know that there was a natural approach to heart disease, that we don't need all the pharmaceuticals, we don't need all the surgeries, we don't need all those procedures. We can do things a better way. And then if everything that we do naturally and holistically, if that doesn't function optimally or we don't get the results that we need, then the medical side is always there waiting for us. But let's try everything holistically first. And when people do that, we get so much success. And even if you're going to go for a medical procedure, you will do better in that procedure, less side effects from that procedure if you are living that paleo lifestyle, chiropractic lifestyle, holistic, natural health lifestyle.
Amen. Amen. This guy is giving you so much quality content and information about that choice. We all have these choices. And I think that that's the greatest thing, is to know that we have a choice to do that chiropractic lifestyle, that paleo lifestyle, to eat right, to think right, to move right, to get adjusted, and all those things that you were talking to the gal earlier, like what Dane Donahue does with 8 Weeks to Wellness. Like, it's so important to know the blueprint of what's going on inside of us to where we can make better solutions going forward, because nobody wants to live in a sick care system.
No, I mean, listen, unfortunately, though, is that, we're all, those of us with children, and even if you don't have children right now, the idea of the bully, right? Like bullies in school. We all remember bullies from school. We know that bully is such a buzzword. Medical doctors are the worst bullies of them all, because it's always my way or the highway. And we got to get rid of that. Like you said, that there is choices. There are other things that we can do. We do not have to be bullied. Now is the age of the internet and the information age, and there's good and bad with it, but certainly the good is that you don't necessarily have to take your first doctor's advice. You can get a second opinion, a third opinion. You can call me. You can work with so many different people trying to get the best information, and I encourage people to do that. Just become educated, become knowledgeable about it. It's often, there's a quote from one of my favorite books called The Jungle by Upton Sinclair in the early 1900s. And the quote goes, "It's hard to get a man to understand something when his job depends on him not understanding it." The medical doctors are not going to understand this holistic lifestyle. They're not going to understand my book. A lot of them didn't want to read my book because they don't want to know the truth, because it's bad for their business.
Yeah, and what he's saying here is so true for all of you guys that have discernment with your families. I know that everybody has a family out there, whether it's a family of one or a family of many, and we all want to have that decision-making process down. And most people, honestly, I tell people this all the time, they just don't know where to go or who to trust. And I know that people go into this medical model all the time, and they're confused, they're scared. They actually have something deeply entrenched in them that they want help with. So it's very important to know the blueprint of what's going on inside of someone's body to where we can make a better solution-based approach. And that's what I love about what you were saying earlier about you took an approach that was against the grain a bit, but you decided to see how you could integrate your thought process with the chiropractic lifestyle and not only develop systems and strategies for yourself, but now you become a resource for so many people with a different way of thinking.
Yeah, and I love getting up on stage. I love getting into social media. I shout all my opinions from the rooftops, and I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to get out there about it. And I think, once again, is that you may upset some of your family members. You may upset some of your friends, but I certainly believe that it's more important who you spend your future with than who you spent your past with. And we're going to associate with the people that really understand this. We're going to really try and take the world by storm. We're going to educate people on the right way to health and wellness. The other side has got infinite money, infinite resources, but we've got the truth on our side, and we're going to keep speaking the truth.
Amen, brother. This guy is so powerful with the message that he's cultivated, and it took a long time to get there. And I know that we've just had a confluence of meeting here at Genesis Pediatric Conference, and I know that I'm on a path and you're on a path, and we joined this amazing tribe of world changers called the Inner Circle. Let's just say a couple nice things to Ed Osborne and what he's doing to bring together this team of Avengers that are all doing digital marketing and podcasting and, really exposing the truth in healthcare.
Well, I first met Dr. Ed, really was virtually, when I was on his podcast, the Chiropractic Philanthropist. He had heard about me. I was one of his earlier episodes, and we just resonated very well, just kind of hit it off, if you will. And then 2 years ago, we met at an event for the Doctors Warner again, and and once again, I like Ed. I trust Ed. There's so many people that are gurus and leaders, and they have different tribes and communities within the health space, within the chiropractic space, and once again, everything Ed says and does resonates with me. I know that he's just such an amazing father to his children, and again, I was just happy to be, and then not to mention the people that are in Inner Circle for Ed's group, and it's just people like Roger Sahauri, Salt of the Earth people, Melissa Longo and I mean, once again, we're just like this when we first met, and even people, and even meeting you, Jim, it's just like some people you connect with, you're on the right path, you're on the similar path with that person, and that's huge. And of course, Andrea and Eric Nazarenko, and just so many other people that are in that group. Josh Hant, for example. I mean, on and on. It was just a matter of who I want to associate with. And again, I've been invited to a lot of masterminds. I've talked to a lot of people about who want me to join their group and see what I can bring. But again, I'm so excited to be part of Inner Circle and how we can all work together to make the world a healthier place for our family and yours.
Well, Jack, it's a pleasure, brother. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. If you guys have been watching this and find some value in this, please hashtag value in the comments there. If you're watching this on replay, hashtag replay in the comments. If you guys are looking for a #1 digital marketing company in chiropractic, go to localgold.com, reach out to Natalie. And if you guys haven't checked out chirohustle.com, go on over to chirohustle.com and check out one of our episodes. We'll have Jack on that as a flagship show as well as one of our weekly episodes that comes out. I just want to thank you so much for sharing from your heart, and thank you for being a part of our massive group, the Inner Circle. We are the Avengers of Chiropractic that are putting out content and sharing the truth in natural health care and really being advocates for each other and patting each other on the back, but also rising each other up. And with that being said, I'm going to close out by saying you're just one story away. Keep hustling. We'll see you guys on the next one.